morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm hanging in there. How are you?
Same thing. Rushing to work. I thought I have to get in work.
Oh, sorry. Loud. I'm switching stuff up so that I don't have to be upstairs in the council chambers where I can't share stuff from my screen. So I'm on here twice.
I've been there before.
Fran, are we supposed to have everyone?
Yes, full house.
Awesome.
Morning, Faye.
Oh, my video's too dark.
Where are
Oh, still dark.
Yeah, we better.
Still pretty dark.
Hello. There we go.
Ugh.
Can anybody hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. It's so quiet.
On mute.
I could sing a little song, but I don't think you'd want me to.
You never know.
So it looks like we've got everyone now except our chairperson. So we just need one last one.
And Kelly.
Oh, sorry, forgot about Kelly. Looking so full on my screen. Hey, Fran.
Yes.
Did Bob ever get, Bob sent me the email saying, can you send the link? And I told him to look in his email and let me know if he didn't get the personal link.
Right?
He never got back with you, did he? Saying
No,
he didn't have it?
No, he sure didn't.
Okay, just making sure.
Did he give the-
Oh, we just lost Christy. No, wait, she's there. She's just, oh, there's Kelly.
I was going to try and use my phone to call Bob.
Oh,
I
sure.
blinked out.
I'm sure Fran can do it.
Okay.
Getting ready
Hello.
to text him.
Perfect. Hey, Kelly.
Hi.
Woo! She's in the
I
car.
have to I don't I'm in the car. So I'm driving to a client, so I might have to I mean I'll listen, but I might have to turn my video off.
Makes
Okay.
perfect sense.
Okay. All right. I'll put you right here and you might go flying. Yeah, because that's what will happen. You guys will Okay, I'm gonna turn the video off.
That sounds good.
Can you guys still hear me?
We can. And we see a lovely picture of
Okay,
you.
good. Ah, thanks. I have no idea where that came from. I think they just picked it, but
And we've
That's
got
all
Bob
right.
now.
Kind of
Yay.
sultry.
So Bob, even though it doesn't say you're muted, we can't hear you. Do you want to check your sound? Bob, one option is to go down towards the mute button and there's a little arrow next to it. And if you click on that, it'll give you some microphone options. And you can also check your audio settings from there.
Testing, testing.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mark.
Mhm. Well, you've got everybody, so you're good to go.
Okay. Fran, you want to call the meeting to order?
Call the meeting at 8:05.
Okay. All right. I don't have my agenda in front of me. I'm sorry.
Okay, do you want to do approval of the minutes first?
Yeah, thanks for leading this. Yes, I did read the minutes. Does everybody else get a chance to look at those? And if so, can we get a motion to approve?
Oh, Heidi did a motion with her hand.
Okay,
I'll do a motion. Kelly, motion.
okay. And a second by Kelly. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, minutes are approved.
We have no visitors sitting as additional attendees in Zoom.
Okay.
So
Well-
our next thing is streetscape project.
Yep.
So hopefully you all got the email that I sent at the end of the day. What I am going to do, I'm going to share the screen so we can put up the one image and then talk a little bit more. So hold on just a second. Put this piece up. Okay, so just as a reminder, hopefully you all remember seeing some of the emails that I sent back and forth last month with St. Louis County. They had come back at us with basically, you can't do anything, nothing in our streetscape. I went back with him as to the reasons why we should be able to do all sort of the key elements that I thought were important in our streetscape, and why we didn't want to do what they were proposing at Baker and Gore. And they came back again with this new email. So I forwarded the email to you that basically said, you know, a little bit about, they believe that the striping would be done by county. And then he went into some detail, and the public works director and I have both sort of looked at this email back from them, and we're still quite confused, because essentially they've provided us with something new that shows how the sort of the striping, which to us is kind of problematic. I mean, we assumed that there was going to be striping to lead us over into our area, but it wasn't part of our project. And we didn't have funding for it. And so when they started saying that we were going to have to fund it, we were concerned. He came back with some new striping, but he also came back still with telling us that we need to expand out at the intersection of Baker and Gore, which again, I don't think they completely understand. It impacts two residents, their property. We don't have in our budget to do additional work there and you know, extend someone's driveway or remove someone's driveway. And then they added a whole new sort of wrinkle to the thing. So they made some proposals at that intersection in terms of striping, which I don't think we have any particular issues with. I think it still kind of does what we had asked for it to do or intended for it to do. They added some pretty major new bump out at Alma, where they're suggesting that we need to take down the whole street and intersection, but they have it show it connecting to our bump out, which initially they'd said we couldn't have the bump out. The other thing that's confusing is they left all of our other improvements on the drawing, but in their email, they never referenced whether, you know, we can do any of those improvements or not do any of those improvements. So as the public works director and I looked at the information that they gave us, our thoughts were there were two options. One option would be that we could have Cochran talk directly with St. Louis County and try to get clarification, and then they could move forward and draw something up so that we would be able to cost out the improvements and confirm what we could do in terms of a phase 1 or a phase 2 with the money that's already set aside by the city council. The other option is not even bother talking to county, update the drawings, and then send it to county and say, is this what we understand? because at a certain point, I have a feeling that we might be able to, not that we're wearing them down, but I do think that they gave in on a few things, and they did talk about how county would be doing the striping in the right of way. We do have a grinder. It also talks about the necessary grinding of the existing striping. We have a grinder at the city, so we could grind we would have to coordinate with them, but we could grind down the existing stripes so that they could put on the new striping. So those are the two things I'm thinking direction wise. I think that might get us closer to being able to cost out and figure out how to do some of the improvements, which would be, in my mind, some of the bump outs and potentially the sidewalks. So I have this up on the screen if you wanted me to do any sort of zooming into what they're suggesting or to talk. And I wanted to see what you all thought.
Laura, this is Bob. It looks like at the intersection, is there like a triangular piece in the middle of the road that will be an island, like a curved island?
Island, just striping.
That's just striping?
Just striping. But
okay,
to make it into one lane only.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
some on-street parking and then one lane only, because I think a lot of you know, there's a lot of problems with people who are going straight on Main Lane, and then the people who don't bother to move over to that lane, and they go straight from they come from the inner lane and just cross over and go straight because they think that the right lane are turning right. So that would be striping only. The only thing that would be new curbs is they are proposing something over here, this kind of curved space at Baker. And they're proposing this pretty extended out curb over here to decrease the crossing at Alma. Now, the odd thing about that is that it would mean that cars would have to pull pretty far out, which can be a good thing. Would have to pull pretty far out, and they'd be able to, see people in this, go a little ways before they would hit the crosswalk. So it would give them more of a movement and a little bit more stopping time if someone was in the crosswalk and they hadn't seen them. It's a more extensive bump out than we had proposed.
And that really puts you out in traffic when you're trying to get out of there. You got to come out pretty far to even see.
Actually, that's where you have to come out right now to see. So it's putting you actually slightly safer when you come out, because right now as you're coming out, people, if they're trying to make a left out of Alma, they are coming out and really putting their cars almost where the curb's going to be now. But then there are still the possibility that someone could come behind them. There's a lot of space that they're not really formally coming out at a perpendicular nature to the street and being able to see in both directions. So it would become a much more formal ability for them to come out and see. It would also provide a slowing point with the two bump outs. And you're also, if you think about it, you're now getting much more formal, only one lane of traffic in each direction based on permanent locations of parking, versus right now it's sort of depending on if cars are parked there or not parked there. Sometimes you have two lanes of traffic trying to drive through. This will confirm that you will only have one lane of traffic going through in either direction with on-street parking. So for safety purposes, it's actually going to make it safer to turn out.
I personally don't like the Alma bump out where it is, because I pull out there every day, and you really need where they have the red line coming out. you really have to go up against that right side of the street in order for you to see around the cars parked in front of Allie's office. If you go closer to Allie's, it's kind of with the line there, it's pushing you closer to Allie's building, and you get blocked by the cars parking there.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
can't see coming out.
Yeah, so you technically, the red line needs to be on Allie's side of the street, and it needs to push you over to the apartment complex and then pull out.
Or we just knock Allie's building down.
Yeah.
The easiest
See-
thing is to get rid of the two parking spaces in front of her building, and then you can see. I don't think that would ever happen.
Well,
If
but
you-
remember, there's now a bump out there. And so that parking space is moved further back.
And we did move it back when they moved the sign back.
If you guys look though, it looks like the bump out's actually taking away the oncoming traffic lane, which is going to force anybody coming from Alma onto Big Bend. It's going to force them into the other lane. So people coming from Big Bend going into Alma, I mean, they come flying around that corner and all of a sudden there's a car there because they're trying to come out onto Big Bend and someone's trying to exit Big Bend onto Alma. It looks like they're taking up an entire lane.
So stop for just a second. This
Okay.
is such a basic sketch. It's not
Okay.
drawn to scale. It would have to
Okay.
be drawn by an engineer. So
I was like, okay, wait a minute.
I
Okay.
think everybody's getting a little too, again, there could be a possibility that the engineers say, we need to bump out. Are you able to see my little mouse on my screen? Okay.
Yes.
So there's a possibility that they'd be able to do a bump out over here. In fact, you know what? I think I can even draw. Nope, that's signature. Hold on. Forget it. I was going to try to draw on the PDF. I believe that you're able to draw, they'd be able to potentially bump out on both sides and really shift the whole thing so that it would provide the proper ability for it. Right now it does. I agree with you. It kind of it forces you to kind of bump out funny, but it's just, I think, because of how quickly they drew this.
Okay, that makes sense.
Trying to see if I can draw. Ooh, wait, red? Oh no, that's for signatures. No, can't draw. I'm trying. Forget that.
Well, Mara, this is Bob again. I guess one overall comment I've got to the group is I thought we had a dead project. I'm encouraged that we've got the engineer, and this is the guy, Jim Knoll. I recognize his name now for years. He is the man, and he's got an interest in our project. We may not like everything about it, and we're going to have to work with him, but it's indicating, Mara, do you believe the same thing, that they are willing to work with us, especially if we're getting to keep the bump outs. Granted, the residences, that's not going to work. We've got to work more with them. And I think what Chrissy's saying is right. We've got to work on Alma. But if we can confirm that the bump outs that we've got are going to be part of the project, I mean, we're accomplishing a lot of what we want.
I would agree with you. Jim ended the email with, please consider and hope this helps move your project forward. So
Yeah.
I'm encouraged by that. I'm still, Todd and I are still very confused because they don't explicitly say that they're allowing either the bump outs at Elm.
Yeah, right.
But they did continue to leave our bump outs and connected to our bump outs at Alma. So I am encouraged by that, which is why I think our two directions would be either, if Cochran talks with them directly, we're not wasting a bunch of time going back and forth. I mean, we could have Cochran talk with them directly and confirm as they move forward and continue to draw something so that we can get bids and cost it out. Or we could just have Cochran run with what they've been given and then send it to county. I don't know which is going to be more productive. But I don't know if I'm thinking we shouldn't even get into the mix at this point. I think we just try to keep pushing it forward with some very specific drawings.
If we do the very specific drawings with Cochrane, could we tell Cochrane kind of our idea and then kind of throw as much at it as possible and let the county kind of chip it away? Because we might actually end up with a little bit more than if we just say, okay, let's go with what we have. I mean, does that make sense? Kind of like throw everything in the kitchen sink at it and then let them start chipping away at it. I think if we do that, we might actually be pleasantly surprised, because it looks like now they're willing to work with us. What are your
That's kind of
thoughts?
why I'm leaning towards the go straight to Cochrane and let them draw it up
Yeah.
with what they think, because I think that we might be able to get a little more out of it. If we go to the county first, they're probably going to say, oh, well, no, we didn't really mean you could have the bump outs over here.
Yeah.
Which is why I was kind of thinking we do it along that scenario with this new feedback.
Okay. Yeah. I think that would be the best thing.
Yeah, I liked your second option too, Mara, of drawing it in. Maybe what we can do is by doing that is sort of eliminate the eastern portion of the drawing from discussion and just adopting it as both parties are agreeing on it.
I think we could go in that direction. And I mean, I think even if they put the rest of it in there with all the striping, you know, we could figure out how best to get that striping to work, because it really was something that we knew that they needed to continue to make that connection. You know, they've taken it all the way to Rock Hill, and then it just does this weird thing and it doesn't do it anymore. So they do need to get the striping done. They have to. It ends kind of in an odd way, and it really needs to continue forward. So yes, if we just say we're in agreement with everything to the east, but maybe make sure that Cochrane puts it in the drawing, because that's kind of how we need to tie in and say we agree with them that needs to happen.
Is your
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, whoever it is, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we might also, I mean, we don't know if they're planning on paying for it, if we're supposed to quote pay for it, but I mean, we do have the ability to do some striping, and we would just have to figure out, okay, well, if we end up having to do it, what would be the city's cost to stripe it?
Is your interpretation at Alma that they don't want vehicles coming from Alma onto Big Bend? I mean, is that why they're trying to choke that so much, and in the way they're doing it, that they want cars to head the other direction, to head north on Alma instead of south towards Big Bend? Do you think that's what they're trying to accomplish?
No, that's not what they're trying to accomplish. What they're trying to accomplish is that is a very poorly designed intersection. It should have made, you want it to be perpendicular. You want streets to not come in at an angle. When they come in at an angle, that's why we have so many issues. People can't see around. People are not in the configuration that they should be to be able to have proper sight distance in both directions. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to choke it down to make it more of a perpendicular intersection.
It kind of looks like it's almost making it like pseudo one way, because people will be able to come off of Baker and only make a right-hand turn. They won't be able to make a left. So
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I thought we were still talking about Alma.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I switch? I'm looking at the wrong intersection, though. I apologize.
That's okay. No, you did with Baker. They are trying to make it that you're taking an actual right turn onto Baker if you are going eastbound, instead of like right now. And I know this because this is my drive home. I always move over into the right lane, and then I technically am almost going straight to get onto Baker. You're just kind of making a swooping movement. Mm-hmm. And really that can be problematic, because people who are sitting at Gore don't know, because not everybody uses their turn signals, that they see me in the right-hand lane and they think I'm going to take a right onto Gore, not that I'm going to go straight onto Baker. So it is a movement. It's an odd movement. And by bumping that piece out, the thing is that bump out over here at Baker, actually, if we just did that movement, that would be very helpful. And we probably could do that without impacting this person's driveway. It's this other one that's problematic because their driveway comes straight out right here. And there's no other way to change it unless you took their driveway and did this funky loop across the front of their front yard, which we're never going to do. So, I mean, if we did a partial of this, so that as a car is coming through and they're trying to get on Baker, they're actually making a right.
Right.
Turning a turn signal on and making a right. It will also mean that, yes, ideally people coming here on Baker aren't going to want to go over a lane of a turn lane of traffic. They're still going to do it. You know, they're going to.
Yeah.
But I would hope that a lot of people would realize, and again, this is my movement every day. You know, when I come out, I no longer go straight on Baker. It's just not the safest thing to do. I always take my right. Yes, I have to travel over the tracks twice, but I take my right, go over the tracks. There's now an easier turn here because there's less lanes of traffic coming. So you can make your left onto Big Bend instead of trying to go straight through all this crazy traffic on Baker. And then you cross the tracks again, and then you're on Big Bend. And it really, I've ever since we've been talking about this for the last, I don't know, 2+ years about making Baker a one-way, you know, I've been doing my own experiment of every time I come this way, I go ahead and make this turn to see how many times was I caught by a train. Because, you know, there is the problem that you cross over, you have to cross the train tracks twice. And I actually, surprisingly, I think I've only been caught by a train once in all of the times that this has happened. And, you know, again, this is how I leave to, you know, drop my kid at the high school, come back from the high school, sometimes go to work, sometimes come back from work. This is my primary intersection to go through. So I've been doing it 4, 5, 6 times a day.
You may have already said it, but does Baker remain a two-way street, or can we, as Webster, can Webster, the city of Webster, change it to one-way?
I mean, right now we're keeping it as two-way. We talked about doing the one-way. We talked about the neighbors doing it one-way. We had done a few different things with it. I think that if we're going to do something as simple as this, we can keep it as two-way. I think some people are going to find that it's a little bit harder to cross when there's now the official turn lane. But, you know, right now, even as 2 people are coming over the tracks, there isn't a dedicated turn lane, but people, if they do need to go on to Gore, are going in the left hand of the 2 lanes. And so it's going to be a little bit safer that there's a dedicated lane. I think people are still going to want to do that quick movement and go across this way. Again, it should be safer. There's now only 1 lane coming across when it hits the tracks instead of 2 cars. So it's going to be safer, and it'll be probably fine as a two-way, remaining as two-way. So, I mean, if everyone's in agreement, I can go straight to Cochran, throw at him. I'll give him everything that we got from the responses. So they see all of the progression of them denying everything, my, you know, pleading of the case for why we should get all the things that we were getting, and then their newest response, and see what they can draw up in more detail of actually engineering this out, so that then we can get some numbers, so we can get some costs, and then we can send it over to county.
I'd say go for it.
Does that include the elm bump outs also?
Yes, I would say we're putting the elm bump outs in, and they could probably fight us with it, fight us on it. I mean, we might still have a fight on that direction. But even if we had it as a second phase, because I just don't know, once we put all of this in, whether we can do, can we just do these bump outs in the middle and all the sidewalks and have to hold off on the final bump out at Elm? That might be what we have. We really only have about $100,000. And I think when we looked at what we had before, that might mean that that's all we have right now. Any other thoughts?
I'm afraid they're gonna come back and say, what, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? We didn't approve that. We gave you these red stripes and that was it. Well,
But if you include everything, Maura, I think that kind of shows, that shows the progression of which we've been forced to take, which is kind of upside down, backwards. It's been pretty topsy turvy. So I think that might be a really good idea to include everything. So, I mean, we have their attention, so I think we need to grab it while we can. It's just a question of how are we going to grab it?
wow.
Heidi, you look deep in thought.
I agree with you. I think we should try to go forward with it.
We have, folks, do we have any instructions for Cochran?
I'm sorry, Bob, say that again?
Do we have any instructions for Cochran? Like, one thing that I found problematic when we did our grant applications is I thought the work that was done by Cochran was done at the 11th hour. I'm pretty confident of that. And, looking back, maybe there was so much more to do, but it just didn't seem, I wonder, should we be saying something like, we really, sounds kind of stupid or silly, but we really want your attention on this.
So Bob, can I stop you for just a second? So there's a very big difference between who is putting together or what they are doing when it comes to a grant application versus the engineering drawings. This will be an engineer who is going to engineer drawings for us. So completely different people/task. And so just so you know, Cochran is the one who has engineered all the drawings for the next phase of streetscape for Old Orchard. And that has been approved by both MoDOT, St. Louis County. It's gone out to bid and they're starting construction in the spring. So it is a very different, it's not that it's, when you put together a grant application, you're throwing together some wording and some other stuff. When you are engineering these drawings, they're going to look like, hold on. Can't really show it up on this screen, but it's going to look like, something like this, where it's going to have all the detail of what the sidewalk looks like and what they're going to do in regards to, this is my set of plans for a couple blocks, of Big Bend in Old Orchard. Does that
this is what they do. You're saying this is really what they do. This is what their specialty is I understand.
Yeah. Because when they go to apply for this, for money, they try to do their best because they want the job.
Yeah, right.
But once they get the job, this is what pays their bills. And I see Christy kind of nodding.
It's the difference between a wordsmith and a engineer.
Correct.
How much does it cost us to do that? Do we have money in our budget?
So remember, we stopped them from doing this next step. It was already in your budget. We already had signed a contract with them. And it had already been set aside for them to do full construction, do the construction drawings of these couple blocks, and to do cost estimates. So we had just stopped them when we found out that county wasn't allowing us to really do anything, and said, wait, stop. Don't draw this. If they're not going to let us do it, why do we bother with this? So it's already been set aside. It was already budgeted out, and we already have a contract with them to do it.
Oh, so it's paid for,
Yeah, well, it's not paid for. We
basically.
haven't paid them yet, but
Right.
it was already,
It's already, that money's already been allotted to pay them. So
it was.
heck, then we have, you guys, I don't think we have anything to lose.
So if you're okay with that, I will kick them forward, tell them I need, basically, construction, I need construction level drawings on these two blocks, with the understanding of this is what county said no to, this is where they changed their minds. Please draw it all up, try to clean up and clarify Alma, which probably would be more of bump outs in both directions or sloped in both sides to make more of a perpendicular, safer way to turn. And then tell them to go ahead and keep doing everything at Elm for now, because we haven't been told otherwise.
That sounds like the right step to take.
I'm still asking questions, sorry. It is the right approach. And Mara, I think you're on it. You know what our objections are, and you'll be able to convey that to Cochran. Back at Alma and Big Bend, that's a stripe. That's a red stripe, and it's not even hatched. And again, it may have just been very rudimentary by Jim. We really don't know, because like you've said all along, we just don't know what they're thinking. But right now, that's a stripe. That's not a curbed bump out at Alma and Big Bend, and it's not even hatched at this point. Maybe they do hatch it.
No. That one is definitely a curb bump out. So what they said in their email, please consider this treatment for Alma, as it too has an extremely wide approach. A curb relocation in the northwest corner would shorten the pedestrian crossing across Alma and put some distance between the southbound right turner and the proposed Big Bend pedestrian crossing. So they are proposing that we would move the curb out. That's a bigger bump out. Now, again, I'm thinking that we would want to maybe make this a little bit smaller, still keeping that distance from someone who's turning right to keep them away from the pedestrians, but maybe bumping out, because we already have a little bump out on the north east corner, or the northeast corner. We would maybe make this sidewalk a little bit wider so that we still get that shortened crossing here, but yet aren't forcing the traffic in kind of an odd configuration.
Okay.
But yes, down here, this is hatching. All these other red lines, with the exception of this curb line at Baker and this curb line at Alma, all the rest of it is striping.
Okay.
So would it be possible to, as we're getting the drawings done, just kind of see what the engineers think would be the best approach at those two bump out areas?
Yeah, definitely.
And then we can kind of say, okay, game on, I feel like they'll have a better idea than we will from an engineering perspective of what will actually work there.
So more of this level, like you see in the underlayer, more of like this level with just a little bit and before they get to the full engineering?
I guess so, or even just like a simple, this is what we think will work here. I don't know. I mean, if they're included in the construction drawings or not. Just seems like there's a lot of concern from the group on those two areas. So we might want to see kind of what the engineers think about it before we get the final drawings, and then have to go back and say, oh, we didn't really like that. What about this? Just a thought.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. The only thing I'm going to say is I would defer to the engineers in terms of turning radiuses and sight distances.
Right.
We all have our impressions of what it's going to do or not do based on how we drive it. Totally, I do it too. But they will have a better idea of what needs to be done for safety.
Right. I mean, because from an engineering perspective, like it kind of doesn't really matter what we want. Like there's probably only one or two options that can actually happen at those.
Agree.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but so that's kind of what I was thinking is, right? I mean, we could talk about these two intersections all day, but whatever we say kind of doesn't really matter, can't do them. So just my thought is kind of let the engineers figure out what would be best at those. And then we can either say, yay or nay, or what are our options?
Yeah, because if we say nay, our intersection's staying exactly the same and we're not getting bump outs.
Right.
But yes, I can definitely do that.
Cool. Yeah, I'm all for getting the drawings done. I mean, that seems like the best way forward. If we just keep arguing and going back and forth with county, I think we'll end up getting less and less.
Yeah, by including Cochrane and starting off with them, it lets them know that we're serious about it. It kind of eliminates the middleman. It just seems like a better solution. It puts us in a better position. It makes it a little easier on everybody.
I agree.
If you guys are all good, that was pretty much our main agenda item. I can give you some updates on city stuff, but other than that, unless anyone else had anything specific.
No.
Do you want a couple quick updates?
Sure, Mara, go ahead.
So we are currently working on a couple of code amendments. The city council just approved on Tuesday night some amendments to our parking code. Sorry, they didn't approve it yet. They did the first and second reading. They'll approve it at the next meeting. We did move forward with the city, with the plan commission. We are doing some code amendments in regards to single family residential, as well as the option of the potential for some two family in our single family residential zoning A4 district. So those have started conversations. They're supposed to help as some options on both the diversity of the types of housing that we have here, as well as some changes to the development of new houses that are basically lording over becoming too large on some of our substandard lots. So we're trying to look at that, maybe lowering the allowed square footage of some of those houses. We have some small lots that are less than 7,000 square feet that are getting houses that are 2,600 square feet. So we're working on both of those. Those will continue over the next few months, I'm sure, before it goes to council. We have, we would continue to remind you that you can go to the city's website to see the Old Webster redevelopment area that is had a number of town halls. All the town hall information is available on the website if you want to go back and see what was discussed in that process. The next step of the process, when it gets to at that point, will be to go before the Plan Commission for a rezoning. So please keep your eye out for those public hearings, because when we get to that point, That will be when we need as much public input as possible as they move forward potentially with that redevelopment project. So keep your eyes open for that. I'm sure there'll be things in the Webster Kirkwood Times, and we'll continue to hold, I'll continue to remind me as we have our meetings. New businesses, I think I'm sure I told you last month, but we had Union Studio that has opened up in Old Orchard. We also have Dharma and Dwell, which is opening up in Old Orchard. We are still working with the Union Bagel in your district. I know it's going slow, but we are still working with him. We have a couple other kind of cool projects that I can't announce yet, but as soon as I can in a couple other areas, I'm working with some other new businesses for opening in Webster. We do have, and I don't know the progress right now of what's happening with it. We had a potential urgent care going at Laclede Station and Big Bend. They'd gone to preliminary before Architectural Review Board and had gotten some feedback on their building. They needed variances before Board of Adjustment. They were able to obtain one of the variances, but were denied the other one by Board of Adjustment. So I'm not sure if they're going to try to redesign and still fit on the site, or if they're going to try to ask for something else. I'm not clear yet on where they're going to go. That was just last week. For those that have not seen it yet on Facebook, and it'll also be on KMOV, we have a new commercial. Actually, I might even be able to open up it for you. Hold on a second. Since my screen's still shared, just a second.
Is the urgent care going in on Flowerama?
No, that's not in Webster. Flowerama is not in Webster.
Okay.
It's the other corner.
Subaru?
Yeah, the Subaru.
Okay.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna put this up for you guys.
I always thought that corner needed a right turn lane from eastbound Big Bend to southbound Laclede Station.
Those are not our roads. Neither
Yeah.
of them are our roads.
Don't start with that. We can't even get our own project done.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to show you our the new ad that's on KMOV.
When you shop local this holiday season, you're giving more than just.
I don't see it, Mara.
You're giving hope to business owners and the community they support.
Hold on.
Experience the spirit.
I think I have to share something different. Hold on. Let me check. Are you still seeing my PDF?
Oh, now we see.
Your PDF is gone.
Okay, hold on. Okay, can you see a black screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
When you shop local this holiday season, you're giving more than just a gift. You're giving hope to small business owners and the community they support. Experience the spirit of the holidays and give hope this holiday season. Shop, dine, celebrate local in Webster Groves. Learn more at explorewebstergroves.com.
So that is the new ad. It is on KMOV. It's on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, we have it on the Facebook page, which I think you can probably still see now since that's the part I'm sharing. We also have a couple things that we're going to do as part of the same thing with with what we're doing with promoting the holidays. We are doing, which we did in last year, we're doing a like our page, share our information about Explore Webster Groves, and you can win a $50 in gift certificates and $50 for a friend. So you tag a friend, and we're going to do that. We're also going to do a hashtag, potentially a hashtag thing with events, where for those that haven't seen it, and I'm not sure how I can share this too. Hold on, let me see if I can share something else. I'm going to stop share on this. Let me see if I can share some photos. I think I can share my mailbox. Hold on. This is a little weird, but let me see if I can do it. Yvonne sent me, here, I think I can do this. Can you see an email pop up?
Yes.
Okay, so for those that haven't seen it, I know you've probably seen your penguins in your district.
Yep.
These are some of the scenes that the Parks Department has done for the holidays with carolers. They've also done some images with a Grinch. They've done the penguins. They've done some snowmen, and they're all up in different areas of Webster. So using those, we were going to do a hashtag where people could take pictures with the different stand-up cutouts, and then could win $50 in gift certificates too.
Oh, nice.
So we're working on both of those along with Small Business Saturday. I'm trying to think of anything else right now, and I think I'm forgetting anything unless anyone has any other questions. Oh, Sarah.
Can I just share one of the other things I'm excited about is our new city manager that
Yes.
last meeting. So, and she'll be starting in January, and I can't wait for her to be here.
Yeah, we're all super excited. I've gotten to talk with her a lot because, of course, our city manager has to move to Webster. So I've been working with her on questions about houses and districts and areas. So I'm really super excited for our new city manager.
All right, good.
So if anyone has anything else, that's kind of, I think, my city update right now. I know many of you know, with the shutdown on Tuesday, we at the city have decided not to change what we're doing right now in terms of we're still taking building permits in, we're still doing virtual architecture review board, we're still doing all of our inspections. We found at the first shutdown that it actually made it harder on us when we shut everything down because we were trying to catch up. It was really, really difficult. So we're just doing the best safety measures that we can. We're asking people not to be in the house when we're doing inspections unless they have items. We do have plexiglass up at City Hall. We're trying to do interactions as best we can. We're all wearing our masks when interacting with them, and we're asking people to wear wet masks when they come to City Hall. So right now it's still technically business as usual with us, and we have not slowed down at all. Our numbers are still up to pre-COVID numbers when it comes to construction. In fact, almost a little more when it comes to new houses too. I had 2 more new houses come in this week that I'm working with. It's really hard to do a Zoom meeting about a new house, but we're trying. Sorry, Chris, you're muted.
Sorry, I'm good.
Did you want to say something?
No, I'm good. Someone had yelled at me across the office, and so I was answering them at the same time. Sorry.
That's okay. Thought you had a question. If no one has anything else,
No,
That's for me.
that's it.
All right, I move we close up.
I second.
Okay.
A third.
Yep.
everyone, please have a safe Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in December.
Thank you.
All
You
right.
too.
All right.
everyone.
Thank you guys for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Have a good one. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Usually I'd say go Webster, beat Kirkwood, but
Yeah, not happening.
no.